Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Arganissima, New York.
Well, welcome back to the iHealth channel, the FinFab channel, the Beauty channel, and iHealth Radio with Hurricane H. New show, new guest, new topic. And today's topic is very simple, the magical formula to a great health with the one and only Jennifer Helene. How are you?
Doing great, Hurricane. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I can't get enough of this health talk. It's like 27 years and going strong. And it's like, I can never learn enough. So I'm really excited about our conversation.
Well, me too. And thank you for accepting the invitation. And I look forward to actually a very fun discussion because we share a lot together where we like the health business. We're in the health, we're in the coaching, in the training, we're entrepreneurial. So we do a lot of similar stuff. And I know you like to tie, and you talk about a lot of stuff and you help people in terms of business, in terms of, the business opportunities, as well as business building, as well as just coaching and mentoring, things like that. So as the tradition has it, we'll go basically about your background and who you are, your experiences and things like that. And then we'll take it from there. So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
My story dates back, of course, to my childhood when I had a strange disease. I had a high white blood cell count, and they thought that I had leukemia. So I think early on for me, I realized that not having my health was not really fun. And I was in and out of a wheelchair, in and out of hospitals for years, from ages 7 to 10, which is just no fun. I didn't have leukemia, thank goodness. They thought I did. Bone marrow biopsy showed negative, which was great, but it took them a long time to find that. And it really made an imprint in me. And my quest for health started really young. I think most of us take our health for granted until there's some kind of crisis. And because I had a crisis early on and my mother had a crisis, there were some things that happened in my childhood that I think created this natural inclination for me to get curious. And I had all these health problems that resulted from all the antibiotics I had to take and whatnot. And Western medicine just didn't have the solutions for me. So the more I sought answers and solutions for my, IBS and, skin issues and all these problems I was having, the more I started to look outside of Western medicine, and the more I traveled the world studying, and I got my master's and my bachelor's degree in nutrition. And then I got this, master's ontological coaching degree. And I've just been going on. I just keep learning. It's just this, like I said earlier, never ending journey. And I've realized that food can harm and food can heal. And over these years, I was in the fashion industry for a long time, but still, even when I'm in the boardroom, like in Hong Kong, making my coat collection, I'm like looking at what the CEO has in his cup, like, what are those herbs, and I'm at the markets and, I'm just so interested in international food and healing modalities. When I lived abroad for 10 years, I was really studying what the grandmothers were using to heal the grandkids, why do they have scorpion fish soup in Greece, for babies? Like, I thought we weren't supposed to give anything but mother's milk to babies. And all of them had these similar traditions and how to heal. Most of them were using, all of them were using mountain herbs. So local herbs that were grown in the wild to make tinctures and teas to heal their grandchildren. It's really interesting learning about these natural traditions that the grandmothers were using all over the world. And being able to speak the languages really helped that, from India to the Middle East to, all over Europe, Greece and France and Switzerland and Germany in particular. Coming back to the States about 10 years ago, I decided to really launch into coaching because the how-to just wasn't getting me very far, telling people what to do and how to do it. I realized that, when my client said to me, well, I just don't have time to make a smoothie. I thought, this really isn't about time. And I was like, I don't know what to do about that. So I had to really get a language, and that's where the coaching came in, to help people to shift their fundamental, blocks to actually get them the birthright to freedom. And that's when I developed this magical formula that you were talking about. The magical formula to reclaim our birthright to health, happiness, and freedom. And it's really simple. It's food, fitness, and mindset. And when you dive in, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, before we go there, so just to pose it, I mean, that's a lot of achievement. I wanted to pause for a minute there because, just to absorb that, and people are listening and watching, and I love to always do that because I think people have to be motivated sometimes, and just kind of like taking that and sinking it in, just like people are doing a lot. And that's what keeps them motivated. And what I see in most of the guests I have and people I encounter that have the similar energy is that they do also, they're busy. They're always looking for better things and always improving. And I think that is a trait that is shared by a certain kind of people. And it is not just for those people specifically, anyone can have it. But, those are the same, pieces that you see that are, tight in this world for certain, folks, and that's what drives success. And in your case, everything that you say, you like to travel, you speak the languages, you're out there, you're looking at different things, and you're like busy with things. And what it does, it just brings you a lot of, I guess, knowledge, a lot of, will to learn more, a lot of, just innovation, because you're always trying to figure out what's the next move, what's the next thing. And you tied in, and ultimately that led to a whole new venture, coaching, because you needed a venue or medium to actually use the knowledge you just acquired over these years back and give it to others. And then you also tied in the nutrition, and then ultimately you come up with a formula that is a business formula, basically. So and what it's business and health, I mean, it really ties in. So I wanted really to just highlight that specifically because it's a lot, and I urge everybody listening and watching that just take some of those elements and just digest them for a second. I mean, they're not easy, and it takes time. I mean, you mentioned, 10 years and another 10 years, that's a lot. You also mentioned a key element of your medical condition initially. And despite all that, you actually took it to the next level. Again, there's some event that made you even stronger, and you didn't give up. And, it was like, okay, things are going to get better. And years later, you're here, you're doing a great job. And we're going to talk about your next venture as well. So thank you for sharing that. And I think, I love to always look at people, succeed and do, things in their life. It helps me, it motivates me, and I hope that it motivates everybody listening and watching. So now we talk about the formula. Now you said it's a simple formula. How simple is it?
It is. When I think actually everybody knows it. I think you know it, and everyone knows it to a certain degree. So the magical formula, after all these years of searching and negotiating, because we all negotiate with our health, we can, how much can we get away with, and what's enough, and what's too much. But the magical formula is made up of 3 pillars: food, fitness, and mindset. And these 3 pillars, oftentimes, we enter the realm of health usually through one of those portals. Like, oh, we need to go on a diet, or everyone knows they need to eat right and exercise. Like, that is a given. Absolutely everyone I know, no matter how, young or old or smart or, less smart, educated, everyone knows that. But what are the right foods? What is the correct knowledge in the food? And this is a huge topic. But one thing we can all agree on inside of the nutrition conversation is that plants are delicious and nutritious, and what you get from your garden is definitely going to be good for you. So, I mean, there is some debate, on which vegetables and nightshades and things like that, but we can generally agree that plants are good. So the more vegetables we can eat, I think the better health outcomes that we generate. Now, I have a lot of ideas on how to optimize nutrition, and I currently am a plant-based eater, and how to optimize that, because you can be really unhealthy as a plant-based eater, and get really sick, actually, trying to be healthy. And so that's the kind of the nutrition piece. There's so much to talk about inside of that. And then there's the exercise piece: how much, how often, anaerobic, aerobic, resistance training. And then there's a whole emotional piece that goes along with the exercise, I believe, because I think emotions are just energy in motion, and that we can shift our emotional state through the movement practice. And it's when you take it from like getting something done on your checklist, as opposed to something that you're really embodying and engaged in, and that you're really shifting your biology, your physiology, and your mental state, then it becomes a whole next level that's available to you. But food alone only gets you so far. Fitness alone without the nutrition only gets you so far. The two combined are great, but if you're eating kale all day and you're feeling guilty, probably not going to get you very far. The field of psychoneuroimmunology really has signified to us that our mind matters, and what we're thinking influences our biological health. So it's extremely important for us to keep ourselves in check. And that means, being honest, having commitments, following through, there are all these things around mindset and positivity, but not as like a Band-Aid and like affirmations per se, but really, diving into an honest, a deep conversation with ourselves. Some people think there's a higher power, others don't, but that would kind of belong in the mindset piece as well. Because at some point we just don't know. Sure. There's so much we can't control, as many goals that we set and, summits we try to reach, at some point we just kind of have to let go and surrender. And that's also part of the mindset piece. And I've developed all kinds of different frameworks inside of each of these three pillars, but those are really that's really the magical formula. Like if you can get into a flow and get into a committed lifestyle around, food that's based on nature's law, a movement practice, exercise, and a mindset that's productive and leading you towards, the person you want to become, you have the ticket, the golden ticket to have long-term health, happiness, and freedom.
So that's a lot. so it's a pretty simple formula, but I know there's more to it. I mean, those are just the highlights of it. But because to be honest with you, we can have 3 different shows and maybe more on each one of those.
Let's do it. I'm game.
It's pretty good stuff, and I love these topics because again, so mindset is just a key element to everything. It's either you have the right mindset or the wrong mindset, and if and it's not even the right or wrong. The mindset is mindset. It's how you use your mindset. Really.
Exactly. There's a consequence. There's a result of whatever you're practicing in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that starts there, because just the mere fact that we're talking about healthy formula success, you got to have the mindset for that, because some people just don't drive there. And it's unfortunate, but it is, again, not everybody has a positive mindset where they're looking to add it up. Now, in general, just doing my work with people in general, I meet a lot of folks every day, and we do a lot of, networking and things like that. And you see different people, in terms of how they think, and not everybody really is always positive. And some people have this really gloomy vision of the world. Events also affect, how we think. I mean, thinking about the corona and this whole pandemic in the last year and a half, it affected a lot of people. But the mindset is really what differentiated people in terms of how they handled it, better, worse, and so on and so forth. And also the mindset is really what drives you towards making the right decisions, because you're right. And there's fitness, there's all kind of fitness, there's all kind of nutrition, there's all kind of things that you do to improve. But if you're not really understanding what you need to do with it, why, and have a vision and have an actual target, that could be a problem. If you always see the world like, oh my God, every time there's a new, I don't want this, I don't like that. You mentioned time earlier, right? We talked about time. Oh my God, where's the time for everything? There's always time. I mean, yes, there's only 24 hours in a day, and we have to sleep and we have to eat and we do all that, but it's just a matter of to manage it properly. So there's more to this. And fitness itself, we can talk about in hours, because there's all fitness can work. And, but everybody's different. Their body, the metabolism, the age, all these things can be genetics. All these things can, be different from you to me to another person. Food, you mentioned a plant-based, food. Some people would argue, well, I love my meats. I love my protein. I mean, I personally like meat, but in moderation. But in moderation, right? So I eat a lot more vegetables, of course, and things like that. I mean, I try to keep healthy, and I have my own formula for it. But really learning from people such as yourself, I always pick up from everybody, like what's good, what's good, what's good. And then I try to have my own little good formula for myself. But at the end of the day, everybody's different. But understanding that, I think, is a key. Understanding that what works for one may not work for everyone, but the formula can be the same, but we just have to adapt it and adjust it to our needs and our environment. And that I think that's a key element as well. But again, it starts with that mindset shift that, first you want to improve, you want to be better, you want to succeed, you want to believe into yourself, and that you're going to be able to do all these things, or you're starting off the wrong foot in the first place.
Yeah,
I think that's my interpretation of it. And every time we discuss mindset, we can dive in deeper in that, and it's just how psychologically people, like we talked about beliefs, powers and so on and so forth, energy. So there's so much stuff that goes in it. I've had so many shows already about holistic approaches, some spiritual approaches, and it all, when you look at it, literally, and me being on this side of the show, I'm listening in and absorbing some of this, and I review those shows, and I'm seeing that they all have similarities. Yet they're all different.
I know, it's like religion,
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
It is amazing.
In your experience, what do you contribute that to?
Oh, well, I think it's different. Like, I don't know about you, but when I was pregnant with my daughter 16 years ago, I had a completely different idea of what health was, what it meant, and my practice, because I believe that our daily practice is our strongest medicine. So whatever we're practicing, it could be that we're practicing negative looping patterns in our mind. It could also be that we're practicing, hopeful, very excited, patterns in our mind, right? And the result, like you said, isn't good or bad, but it's just directly correlated to what it is we're practicing. If we're exercising every day, or however many days a week you are going to generate your result, you're getting the direct result of that practice. And so I think it attributes to what life is bringing you. When I was using pregnancy as an example, like I was really interested in what pregnant women should eat. So I was reading all these books, and those books were influencing my mind. And then I was practicing the things that I was learning. And then over time, I started to understand more. And my understanding of health today is completely different than it was 20 years ago. Completely. And it's based on my experiences and also my belief system. So the more I learn, though, the more I realize I need to actually tap more into what my body wants and not what my mind thinks I should have, and also not what my tongue desires based on an emotional need that's not getting met. And so these are like three different levels of understanding that I've had to really work out over the last 30 plus years. I left out of the story that my mother was in and out of Overeaters Anonymous. So I spent a lot of time at these meetings as a kid. And that whole ideology around food can heal and food can harm led me to start to unpack what that meant, that eventually, after all the education I have in nutrition, like what my mind thinks I should eat versus what my tongue wants based on my emotional needs that are or are not getting met. And then actually what my body wants. So there's like this kind of balance. So I believe that we're all on a journey somewhere with ourselves. And food is a very intimate relationship. I mean, going all the way back to when we were fed in the umbilical cord, and then, that we're breastfed. It's a very deep satisfaction that we get. And it's a very deep kind of massage as we're digesting food. And it is ultimately how we are nourishing ourselves. And it is a type of a lifeline.
Well, it is. And of course, it's part of life. I mean, you have to have nutrition to survive and to live. And again, the right balance is the key here. And finding that right balance, to your point, is your body's going to talk to you because it's going to tell you what it needs. Or at least you will feel if you're missing something, your body's going to react to it. You're going to have problems. You're going to have certain diagnoses, maybe, your bones are going to ache, something is going to feel you got migraines. Maybe you'll like some, I don't know, magnesium, you don't sleep correctly. All these maybe symptoms will manifest because of the lack of the right nutrition. And nutrition is a big topic as well. And I mean, there's so much, so many studies and so much research on it and so many products out there and just formulas. But they all have the same base, which is, you have to look at what works for you and you put it together in the right numbers.
Yeah, but the food from its source. Like, I really think that that's a simple thing. Food in season, ripe from its source. Like, that is something everybody can apply immediately. And the closer we get to the source, the healthier it's going to be, right? As nature intended it. So I think that's a good rule of thumb for us all to follow, because I do think that applies to everything without getting too much into, micronutrients and protein grams and, all these things. I do think that we can all, I don't know. That's at least my opinion at this point.
Oh, I
That,
agree.
food from its source. Yeah, like that is like something, and we're getting more and more research on the biome, which is like so important, right? I mean, it's like should be its own organ system according to Stanford University. And they're saying that taking probiotics is fine, but it still has to pass through the gastric system, right? Through the gastric fluids. And that they're finding that the healthier biomes that they're studying are healthy because the good bugs, the good bacteria, grow on the variety of fibers that we're eating. So fiber it's always been important, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it's becoming more and more important in the research they're doing on, the beneficial bacteria to help balance out the microbiome. So the fiber from squash, the fiber from apples, the fiber from grapes, the fiber from all the different types of fruits and vegetables that you can eat is becoming so critical. And we know that that's helping to balance the brain chemistry. And we know that that's helping to balance our immune response, which is so important. So fiber is really important, and food from its source.
Well, so let's talk about that. I mean, unfortunately, um, first of all, before I go there, you're right about how it should be, how life intended to be, because historically, people, that's what they did. There was a farmer market. You go, you pick up the good stuff, just picked up from the nearest farm in the area, and that's it. Or you go to the farm and you pick up your stuff, produce veggies, whatever, your
Mhm.
fruits. Everything is all natural. It's all just, there's no pesticides. There's nothing going on in there. It's all natural. It was a healthy lifestyle. Now everything we do and get is either frozen, and even the frozen is a questionable one. But you have all these, everything is GMO now, and well, not everything, but we have a lot of that stuff, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and the debate is, if you're in a city, for example, I mean, more recent years, you have all like the Whole Foods and things like that, coming up with produce and product that are like, non all organic type. And even there are questions about organics, whether how organic are they, and so on and so forth. So again, because they're coming to you, you can just take it, for what it's worth. It is organic, okay. It is not organic, okay. But to your point, how many people can actually travel to a farm and actually pick up their stuff, or how many people have their own farm in the back and grow their own things? It's a big challenge, not for everyone, right? And then you have the cost factor, because now if you want to buy natural stuff that doesn't go bad, that because it has to come out fresh and really be utilized very quickly or used very quickly, and so therefore there's a cost to it. So those are some of the, I guess some people will question that, like, well, I can't afford that. I'd rather get,
Yeah.
what's everyone's on sale.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true. What you're saying is a real phenomena, and I do want to encourage people to try to grow their own food. One of the programs I built actually teaches people to grow in 1 square foot in their kitchen. You can grow, plenty of salad. It's amazing what you can grow in your own kitchen with a little bit of direct sunlight. And you can be in a small apartment. You just need a little bit of indirect sunlight. So growing your own is always going to be the cheapest. It definitely creates more, care, but just a little water, some good soil, some seeds. You can do a lot actually right in your own kitchen. Most people aren't going to do that, right? So it's really, really getting exciting. You can buy lots of delicious organic food in bulk. If you can store, the oats or the different grains and seeds, you can really get amazing price breaks when you go and change your routines. Like we all have our routines. Like maybe we go to the mini mart or the 7-Eleven. Well, that their options there are going to be really limited on what you can get that's healthy. So it takes a little bit of time and effort to go outside of your comfort zone and find a new pathway. But it's possible. I did a online program for a documentary recently called Secret Ingredients. Everyone should see that's the most recent research on a chemical that's used on non-organic food called glyphosate, and even on some organic food. Um, And it's really important that we get educated and that we take the steps. It's like the prevention model. Like a lot of us have health insurance,
Mhm.
but in a way, by buying organic food and eating as much fresh food as we possibly can, it's our own, self-reliant insurance system. So even though it is a little bit of an investment, I think it's
It's worth
worth
the
it.
investment. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's nothing better and more worthy than us ourselves, right? Our health
Yeah, and
is
it's the prevention model. Yeah, the
Mhm.
research shows it. Our health, right? You said, like you were going to say, I think that the health is our most important thing. Without it, you've got nothing,
Exactly.
not
Well,
a zero
listen,
zilch.
and you can have money, you can have everything. You lose your health, you lose everything. I mean, I always
Oh,
refer to health as wealth, and you're right. I mean, sometimes. By the way, this is the same question that comes up even in fitness. Some people would not invest in their fitness, whether buying an equipment home or joining a gym or whatever the thing may be. Oh, it's too expensive, I can't afford it. But yet you can spend money on something that is potentially not going to help you or keep you healthy. So finding that balance and really making sacrifices sometimes to find the right thing and the right balance can do it. But it's a mindset. It goes back to that same source. It's how you think
totally.
about it, right?
Yeah, like
Not
what are you
everybody's thinking
committed
that way.
to?
Yep.
Yeah, like they'll pay for Netflix, they'll pay for their phone, it's like, what are you committed to? And it's really important to be like lovingly honest with yourself. Like, what are you committed to right here, right now? What do you want to create? And are your practices reinforcing that or not?
Well, listen, I think we're on the same frequency here. I hope everyone again watching or listening in to really just absorb this concept. And it's not a magical concept. We call it magical formula here, but it's not. These are things that we've heard, we probably know about. It's just that we get so distracted with really this marketing. I mean, we both do sales and marketing in a way, so we know the power of that. And there's a lot of influence and whether it's on TV and the media, everything around us is selling you something, and chances are you just get so used to that you'll buy the stuff because it just compulsive buying because you feel that you have to buy it. But in essence, do we buy the right stuff? For
Mm,
example, in COVID, right? I noticed this, and you've probably seen this. There was a big tendency of people buying canned food.
yeah.
you know
And yeah,
Why? Because everybody was afraid, and that's what lasts longer, and I can probably survive the apocalypse and all that. But then what you don't realize, and most of these things don't have any nutrient in them, or any nutritious a level. There's high sodium, there's all these preservatives there, and it's all crazy stuff, but yet people relied on that in terms of like their livelihood when it comes to a crisis. Even if you look at, I do watch a lot of documentaries on survival and things, and I always tell you, like, get the grains and get the canned food and stuff that could last a year or 2 years, things like that. Put in your basement, whatever, keep a stock. But when you think about that, I mean, maybe that is a way to survive if, God forbid, the world is ending. But
right.
that's a whole different discussion. But on a day-to-day life, I mean, there are options. And right now, more than ever, you have a lot of more markets that sell organic stuff. Yeah, obviously, I live in Jersey, for example, area where I am surrounded by farms. I can literally go and buy, which I do, and so
Mm,
seasonal stuff comes up. I mean, you can buy it really from the backyard, in that farm, right? Uh,
amazing.
you know,
Yeah. The
it,
garden
it
state after all.
it is a garden. Yes, that's right. But I mean, again, that that's the other thing. A lot of people would prefer to live maybe in a suburban area, in a farmland, than living in a metropolitan. But when you're talking about cities and major areas such as New York and LA, San Francisco, and all these big cities, Miami area, people are living there. The supermarkets, the foods are coming, everything is frozen and distributed. So it's a little harder. But to your point, if you do the work and you do the exercise and the diligence, you'll find something that is for you. But understanding what that is another thing. Like you said, you did your research. Now you know how you can buy wholesale stuff that is organic and it's the right one. I mean, this was news to me. Like, you said you can grow stuff in your home. It's not news to me. I mean, I grow some stuff home, but not in the kitchen.
Ah,
I mean, I have tomatoes,
yeah.
I have mints, I have like some like different things. But it's again, it's the seeds. You just put them in and you take care of them, and now you have some seasonal stuff. It's not all year long. Obviously, we have a very bad weather here in the
Yeah.
winter, so you can't really grow all year
Right.
long.
But you
Something.
could in your kitchen.
Well, that's exactly. So let's talk about that. I mean, what advice would
Yeah.
you? What can people do at home right now, just as your formula to produce and grow in their home, like something that they can eat more often and healthy, and it's not going to take much and can be done all year long.
Yeah, because buying microgreens and sprouted foods in the grocery store costs a fortune, but they are so healthy. So if people want to be a little bit more plant-based, the way to do that in a really healthy way without, losing the high impact of nutrients and absorbable protein, you can do that with microgreens, sprouted foods. Sprouted foods are one of the keys to vitality. I'm telling you, it's like so amazing. When I started including more sprouts into my life, I couldn't believe how much energy I had. It was unreal. So you can soak some lentils or some mung beans that you can get in bulk, just to get to make sure they're relatively fresh. And you'll know if they're not fresh because they won't sprout. You just take an old olive jar or a pickle jar, and then you soak them overnight. So you just put like a quarter of a cup of lentils in the jar, or even just 2 tablespoons, just not much, because it's going to they're going to grow.
Right.
You just soak them overnight, soak them for like 6 hours, and then you strain them in the morning, give them a little rinse and strain them again. And then you can put some cloth over the top with a rubber band, or you can get a screen. They make jars with special tops, but you don't really even need that. You can just keep it really simple. Then you just want to lay it on its side. I like to use like a toothpick, so you don't want to lay it top down, but you want to lay it like, so it has a little bit of airflow. And then you got, in a couple of days, you just rinse that once a day. And then like in 2-3 days, you have sprouted lentils or sprouted mung beans, a great addition to any salad or soup. Or you can even make a soup with them, highly absorbable beans. So if you usually have like a strong reaction to beans, lentils are really easy, and mung beans are really easy to digest. And it's a great way to kind of start to train the muscles of your large intestine to digest higher fiber foods. So it's a wonderful tool. And then if you want to go a little further, you can get, you can either make your own, or you can buy like kits that put on your countertop, or you can get like a tower. I have one just like trays, and you get some soil and some 10 by 10 trays, and you can get some seeds like broccoli seeds or radish seeds, and even basil seeds. You can grow microgreens. I grow wheatgrass, buckwheat, pea shoot, sunflower. This week I have fenugreek greens and what's the last? I got a new one this week. What did I plant?
You need to have a show just about that. I think.
Oh
we
my
should,
gosh.
You need to have a show just about like, let's grow this together, and then voila, maybe TikTok will do. I don't know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but you can do a lot in your kitchen, and it's so cheap. So cheap.
Well, I mean, yeah, you buy lentils in bulk, and you can do that. I mean, definitely, they're not that expensive compared to what you buy already, pre-packed. Well, here's the other thing. I mean, we talked about time and just the way people behave in terms of nutrition.
Yeah.
But people, because of business, I mean, you're a business person. You have been coaching business people. You are doing all that. Yet you managed to do this. But people will often, I don't have this, so they buy microwavable stuff ready to go. Just pop it in the microwave and take that.
Yeah.
But they will say, I didn't have time to prepare anything. I don't have the energy to do it. Who's got, have to go to the store, blah, blah, blah. It's excuses.
Hurricane, I've come to realize something. Whatever food you put in your body, it's either giving energy to you or it's taking energy away from you. Now, everybody knows that when they eat like a huge carb-loaded meal, like a pizza and some French fries and some ice cream, the way you feel after you eat that food, I feel tired. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like hiking a mountain or going to swim laps. I mean, I'm like,
fall asleep.
I don't eat that food anyway, but you feel sick. And it's a really simple analogy. It's like you eat food that brings you life, or you eat food that takes life away from you. It's usually one or the other. There's some middle ground on some foods, especially if you don't eat a lot of them. But, I know that when I eat sprouted foods, when I eat deep green foods, when I eat fresh fruits and nuts and seeds, like it brings so much vitality. And especially if I can bring the life back into those nuts and seeds and grains, and I eat them freshly sprouted, like that is going to bring vitality. It's going to increase my energy. It's going to decrease my aging. It's going to prevent disease. And so because I think I'm so convinced about this particular thing, The microwave, I don't even have a microwave. My friend was rushed. He was hungry. He's like, hey, can I just grab some food to go? And he opened my freezer and he took something out. And I looked at him, I'm like, well, that's not really a fast thing to heat up. I was like, he's like, you don't have a microwave? I'm like, I don't have a microwave.
Okay. Well, that's a good experience. Now they will learn how to do it differently.
He's like, oh, guess that's not going to work. I was like, here, have some walnuts. He's like, that's not going to really cut it. Anyway, just a silly story. But you're right. Most people will be like, yeah, that's not okay. But again, it's like you said, mindset. It's like people don't want to get uncomfortable. They're not comfortable doing new things. Change can be challenging.
So we have to get difficult.
Yeah, we have to get comfortable being a little uncomfortable because we know the prize, and the prize is health. The prize is energy. And, but I'm actually really curious to talk to you about exercise. You look like a really fit man, Hurricane.
I try. I try. All of the above we just mentioned. I mean, it's a little bit of, trying to keep tight with your food and make sure you get the right stuff. I don't eat excessively, and I do exercise. I do work out. I mean, we do have, again, one of the channels is the Fit and the Fab channel. So it's driven from our fitness brand, which is the Fit and the Fab. And so it's about kickboxing and stuff. I do have a martial arts background, so that's also part of my life. I've always been into it. So, I mean, on and off, sometimes you get a little lazy and you get a little couple of pounds and then you go, oh, I got to do this right. And then you get right. We all get that moment where you're just like, because I mean, consistency is a big deal. I mean, that's another thing, right? People don't realize how you can have the best formula, but if you're not consistent with it, and that's really what can destroy you. And that's what happens typically in diets and things like that are temporary. They get into something, it looks good, it feels good, but then it's not consistent, and then they rebounds back to whatever they were, bad or good or otherwise, right? So again, so I do a little bit of all of the above, right? So the right mindset, the right, I don't stress. I believe positive. I try to do everything healthy. I try to decompress every now and then. So work is good. I do have a nice, life balance. And I recommend that to everyone, even at work, like my team. If someone doesn't take vacation, I'll get crazy. Take vacation, get out of here. You're not going to be doing any good if you're stressed and really so it's a little bit of all that. I talk about health all the time. Even my friends, I'm like, they're health freak, and again, it's I've grown with it, right? That's been something that I've been, all along with since I was, a child. And it feels good because, I mean, I feel great. Thank God. I do my checkups. Everything checks out nicely. I have cancer in my family. I have diabetes in my family. So those are things I watch for.
And heart disease.
And actually, I don't have severe heart disease, but, like my mom right now has some of it through diabetes, but at the end of the day, these are all things that you have to be mindful of and kind of conscious, but healthy habits, that's all there is. And we, as I said, you cannot separate your health, your mind, your spiritual stuff. All of that has to be tight in order for you to actually lead a healthy and decent life. At the end, life is short. Unfortunately, it is a fact. I mean, before you know it, when you're in the 20 years old, in the 20s, the 30s, you think the world is yours. You're invincible. But then time start ticking quick. Then you be like, wait a minute. Here's a joke. I was laughing the other day. I just got my ARP card. So I'm like, damn. I mean, welcome to the club, it says.
No idea. Good for you.
So I got the card. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, this is what I used to laugh about. I'm in the club. So I got the card. I started laughing. It's like, okay, so now I get my discounts.
I thought you were my age or younger. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting, well, you look younger, so I don't know. but when I hit that card, I'm like, okay, so this is good. But then you realize, right? So half of a century is gone. I don't foresee another half. And if I did, I'm pretty sure at a certain age, it doesn't matter how long you live, you don't live as healthy as now. So you got to maintain for as long as you can, your body, your health, your spirit, your whole energy has to stay up. And that's how your body can, lives with you, longer and gives you more. And that's my philosophy. And that's how, I kind of promote it to my friends and my surroundings and my close, people. And even in the shows, like again, one of the purposes of these shows is to bring that message to people, like educate them, enlighten them, inspire them, motivate them in any shape, way or form. And it works. Sometimes, I think it works. Some people are, I tend to be contagious about it. So
yeah, no, totally. Your enthusiasm is contagious. But like you're saying two things that I'm tapping into, and I'm wondering if the listeners also feel, because like you don't stress, which I think is great, but I do. I mean, I definitely stress. I worry about stuff, and I don't do it because I want to. It's just in the space, like you wake up in the morning and like, oh, what about my daughter, or what about, COVID, or what about, things that are happening in the world, politics, there's things that I do worry about. And the things that we're asking people to do, if they're not already on board, can even cause stress. I know so many people that stress about their health. Like if they don't get their workout in, they're like really stressed out, and I'm like, well, it's just one day, like get back on it tomorrow or later, but like, I think that it's really important that people, don't stress, but there's like a formula for how you don't stress. Right. And part of it is the exercise, the nutrition. But I'm curious what your formula is. I mean, for me, like I have to sometimes just be like, oh, okay, I'm actually feeling a little worried right now, as opposed to being like, don't worry, stop worrying. Worrying is negative. I have to like, it's like a different relationship, with it, because, it's just, I don't know. I wish I didn't worry, but it's still, I mean, at the end of the day, like I know part of me is like, everything's going to be fine. But, there's a little bit of a, little turmoil in there some days, most days. And I think it's also because I care. Like, I just really care a lot. Like, and there's so many things I can't control about, my daughter's health and, the world as it is and stuff, and how it might impact us in the future.
That's exactly how I don't stress.
That's
exactly
keep your adult hat on.
No, that's exactly how I don't stress. I know that I don't control a lot of things. So therefore, I don't worry about them.
Beautiful.
They're going to happen whether you like them or not. I mean, I can't control politics. I mean, unless I become a politician. I can control certain things, maybe help people change their mindset, like this, a show. I can share my vision and my enthusiasm, my energy with people that can help. But for me, like, for example, I wake up in the morning, I have this just think about this as another formula. I'm healthy, I am safe, I got enough food for the day, and nobody is chasing me. I'm happy. I'm rich.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
So that's it. I mean, and every day you take one day at a time. Right now, so I'm a big promoter of vision and dreams and go for your dreams and stuff. So that has nothing to do with how you operate. So you set your goals, you set your targets, you set all your ambitions. You don't give up on them. You just go for them. You have a dream, you go for it, no matter what it takes. Just time, but you adapt, you adjust, you drop, you get up, whatever hurdles are going to be there. As long as you know that and you're willing to take that challenge, it's okay. But I still take it one day at a time. So if I have 5 years goal, I set up the weekly goal, the daily goal, the next month's goal, and so on and so forth. And I set up like timestamps in the future, for example, or milestones, if you want to call them that.
Nice.
So for example, I'm leaving, let's say I have vacation and I have a vacation in August. I'm not worried about the vacation in August. I don't think about it. I'll think about what's the next event that's going to happen in my life. That's the next one near to me that I have to worry about. And then therefore I focus only on that. When that happens, then now I start thinking about the next step and the next step and next step. Now you have a plan. You already put the plan together, but now you start working one element at a time or one project at a time if you look in business mode. And like people say, like, you're doing a lot of things just like you, right? I'm doing so many things. How do you do it? It's like, I just look at them as different projects.
That's right.
That's it. So you organize them, you give them time, so you schedule properly, time management, territory management, all these things that we hear about, you apply. But that's how it is. So I don't stress in the morning because nothing's going to faze me. And I mean, there's two things that can scare people, right? Death. And I know that I can't run from that one. So I already established that. So that's the first thing that people that they're always afraid of, And then the other one is like poverty or like having nothing, losing everything. I've been there, done that. So you lose everything, you can do it again. If you did it once, you can do it again. So when you adapt to these realities and you really know that they're happening and they're real and they don't scare you anymore, nothing else is going to faze you.
I love it. And so it sounds like you've got a good perspective.
Well,
right?
that's my formula. That's how I use it, and
I
it
love
works
it.
for me, and I'm sure it could work for many. But
Oh yeah.
and I'm sure other people are doing the same thing. But that's how I live the day to day, and I
Yeah.
decompress like nothing stress. There's no situation that I don't panic. Things can be like literally the world's ending. I still have not. There's no panic. I will
You're like
just
a
take.
rock. I love it.
I just take the minute to you have to absorb what's going on, because the minute you panic, that's when
Yeah.
you lose everything. You can't lose your cool.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that you have these lenses. I always look at it as lens, like what are you looking through?
Mhm.
And some people are looking through the lens of poverty, or some people are looking through the lens of fear, right? Death, like you were talking about. And so it's like your lens is clear. And it is a bit of a process to get to that level. I from what I've seen in my clients, and the students in my programs, like it's not like they can see that clearly. And it sounds like you had a journey to get to that clarity, which is really awesome. It might have even been difficult. I don't know, but usually it is.
Well,
But
it is.
it's what lens are you wearing and what lens are you looking through? And I think that's a helpful way for people to orient themselves, because it can be overwhelming to be in that fear, or that scarcity context.
Well, it is. But I think one of the reasons that happens is that people, first of all, there's so much, again, influence, meaning that there's everything around us teaches us to be afraid. You're always, oh, you got fired, you got this. People are always concerned about money, about food on the table. Listen, if I can't have a spread, meal, you said it. You can have a nutritionist, nice meal with a couple of things, and you're good. It's not the quantity, it's the quality, right? I can be on an island and survive. I mean, I'll just go fishing and get some sushi, and I'm good.
Oh my gosh, I would not be able to do that.
Well, I love
I'd be like
sushi, right?
foraging for berries. Like, can I eat these? Can I not eat these?
Well, so it's a joke, but the idea is, if you start adapting to these realities, right, and understanding that these are facts of life, then why worry about them? And when things happen, you can't change them. You can prevent things, but if they happen, they already occurred. There's nothing you can do. You can't go back in time and move things, but you can learn from it and moving forward. And sometimes you don't have to learn from your own experience. Look for other people's experience. There's plenty of examples around us, so we use those.
For sure. Yeah, you make it sound so easy, and I think it can be. But I do, it's definitely a process of acknowledging what the lens is, accepting what's in the space. Is it a breakdown cake? What are the ingredients of my day? Is it going to lead to a breakdown, or is it going to lead to a breakthrough? And then, accepting what's in the space, not to hook into it. Because what I'm hearing in your speaking is like, you're not hooking into any story. There's no like disillusionment, which is amazing. It shows that you've done a lot of work, but it's not everyone's there, and it's a great that you're this example, and you're teaching and that you're leading. It's wonderful. And just for those of you out there who are listening, like, like the acceptance, like what lens am I looking through? Can I accept fully where I am today? And then can I let it go? And then try to get aligned with what's really real and true, which is exactly what Hurricane you're describing.
Well, just to add to that, there's another piece that, I do have this belief that what's meant for you is for you. What's not meant for you is not meant for you. It doesn't matter. So don't go chasing something that is not yours, or if you're losing it, like, oh my God, like you dwell on things, like you lose something and you go crazy. Why? The question is, why did it happen? Okay, so take that lesson and make it happen. You lose money, that's a good education. You think about that, and just invest in a master's degree in life, and that's it. So I always justify things, realities to myself, and that's it. And I also face the truth and reality, as opposed to just try to ignore it. Most of the people would not face
most
reality.
people ignore it. Yeah, they're like
I don't want to
escaping,
know.
avoiding, procrastinating.
Exactly. I don't want to do it. You got to do it. Leap forward, jump, do it. If that's what happens, if you're scared, you get hurt. That's it. If you're gonna do a movement, like I do martial arts, if I can throw myself around, and like I remember when I started in this particular art, I have to do rolls and throws, right? So you got to throw yourself. Volunteer yourself and just go in the air and just do a nice little throw in the air, and boom, and you fall, so you can slap out and things like that. So the first time I was told to do that, I had no way of doing it other than doing it. There was no reason for me not to do it. Just, you got to do it. Might as well do it. So I go forward, do it, boom, get it out of the way. I'm done. It was over. Simple. So that's just an example, but that can go for many, many other, components here that we can discuss. But again, it ties in health, fitness, mindset. And when you combine these three things, and also sometimes spirituality, and mean that you have to believe that
I think so. Yeah.
there are powers that you can control, just like, we can't control like our heartbeat, right? You can meditate.
You can with your breath.
No, I know, but I'm saying the heart starts
Oh,
beating.
it's like, right. You blink your eyes, your heart beats.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your blood pumps.
There are certain things you can't. I mean, I can't switch the body, the blood circulation and switch it around. I can't. I can't tell my glands not to operate correctly or operate. That's why we have problems with thyroid, with insulin, stuff, because your body is doing things. So you're not in control of those things. Now you can control how the body, does things. For example, if we're talking about diabetes, well, there is a big influx of diabetes because everything we eat, at least, obviously we're talking about good nutrition, but if you're talking about the growth, since the children level here, cereal, milk, and this and that, candy, everything is just sugar. You're taking thousands of grams of sugars a day, maybe without even thinking about it. So your pancreas is just going to eventually get expired sooner.
Yeah. You can set yourself up for success in that prevention model,
Exactly.
like of just knowing, sugar really does steal from you. It's a very, very dangerous thing.
Well, I had a friend who's a doctor, and he had explained to me this very simple way about diabetes. And he said, think about this. Your body is designed according to your age and, how long you're going to live. So your pancreas, for example, you're supposed to live, I don't know, 75, 80, 100 years. So your pancreas is supposed to give enough insulin for that time. But if you abuse it in the first 5 years and 10 years, you just took 20 years out of your life from it. So therefore, when you get to a certain point, it's not going to function. Similarly to a car, you get a nice car. Sometimes you buy a car that is like 30 years old as in terms of age, yet it looks brand new because the person that had it drove it very little.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And then you have a new car that is a Ferrari that you just beat the crap out of in the first 2 months, and that car is not anymore good. So same thing. The body is that vehicle, right? So
it is. And they're so resilient. I'm amazed at how the body, like the liver, can completely regrow itself. The lungs completely regrow themselves. It's just shocking about how resilient it is. So like, it's never too late to start anew, because it's like every breath is new. There's no such thing as an old breath. Every bite is a new bite. Every choice you make about the food on your plate, it's like every moment is a new opportunity.
That's a key word. Every moment. And for me, that's exactly how I live. Live the moment for what it is. Enjoy it. There will be another one, and look forward to that one. Take the good and the bad, and make it always at the good part, not the bad part. There's always a good in everything. There's good in everything. There's good in everything. If you want to see good in everything, you'll see good in everything. If you want to see bad in everything, definitely you can see it. It's how you look. I mean, it's really looking left or right. I can choose that. And we have choices. We choose how we feel. We choose to beat ourselves. We choose to actually, and people may disagree with my comments here. They're like, oh, you're crazy. What do you mean you choose? I'm not complaining. I'm living my life.
You choose how you respond. Yeah, you choose how you respond. Like I think it's important to acknowledge like there's good and bad in everything, but like you can choose to respond to the bad or the good, and it's our choice in how we respond, or we can just react, which never really turns out well. Just reacting.
We mentioned TikTok earlier. So I was watching this TikTok, and I love this dude came on just out of the blue, just on the scroll. He's talking about being offended. He said, you get offended. That's because you choose to be offended. I don't care what people say. If I don't allow that to offend me, or basically they can say whatever. I just have to just absorb them and just let them go. I don't have to be offended. Offended is a reaction, not the action. So
I like that. Reaction, not the action. Woohoo.
So I was listening, and I was like, oh, damn, this is cool. And let's see, that was just, a little 60 seconds of a little thing that this guy, put in there. But you take that, it's a good value. Yeah. I'll take it for what it's worth. And now we're sharing it with people, so more people are going to listen to it. But the fact is, these are things that you pick. You pick the best from everybody, and you don't take anything else.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And everyone has something to offer. So you take all that, and make it your own way. And that's it. You move on. Next move. And again, take a day at a time. Enjoy each day.
Yeah.
And the day that
Well,
comes will not come back again. I mean, the day that goes, that comes back,
oh,
never
it's
coming
so
back again.
true. Well, you were talking about how, you choose the positive. And again, it goes back to that vitality idea around like the negativity actually takes the energy away from you. Those negative thought patterns. They say, I've read at least, that we're thinking the same thing over and over and over again all day long. Most of us, like over 80% of our thoughts are repetitive. I mean, that's just shocking. And imagine what could be available for us if we, were feeding our minds and our hearts, positivity. It's definitely more life-giving, more vitality producing, more energy producing. Because the energy you get from like negative thought patterns is pretty exhausting. All that trying and, all that faking or all that, negativity, it's just, I don't know about you, but it's draining when you're around that kind of negativity.
Well, it is. And the best way to do it, you just eliminate everyone that has negative from your circles. And you don't have to eliminate them. You just eliminate you. I just take me from the equation. That's all. I don't have to be in that
circle. Is that why the divorce rates are so high?
Could be too much. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's having issues. And that's the other thing. If you hear issues all the time, you become believing in those issues. They become also part of your life. Like, I don't want to hear somebody's issue because now that becomes my problem. Right? So if I'm not there, I'm not going to know about it. Right? So you avoid anything that is going to impact you. And that's how I do it. So now you've
to the best of our ability, at least. I'm a real family gal, I'm like super loyal. So sometimes, family stuff comes up and you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you got to learn how to navigate all of that,
Well, no. So now here's how I do that. I just give him all my dose of positivity and give him every reason why that, the negative has to go. And that's it. So I just convert them.
So does that work? Just out of curiosity, does that work?
It does. Again, remember, so we're having a discussion right now, right? And you're feeling the energy and I feel the energy, right? And I'm sure everybody listening, they're like getting like a little excited about this, right? This discussion. That just because it is what it is. You take it for what it's worth. You just give people positive feedback. You give them stuff and you give them any good reason why they should be better than where they are. And if you can, I'm in sales, so I sell everything. Every time you talk, you sell. You're selling something, right? And that's just the way I've been designed, I guess, by DNA. I always joke about it. I have like a gene that's like sales, it's a sales gene, right? So in essence, when you're talking to people, ideas are sold. Suggestions are sold. Everything is is selling. Everybody's selling. By the way, people say, I don't know how to sell. No, you've been selling all your life. You just don't know it yet.
That's right. That's true.
So and selling is really an exchange to ideas. Yours, either you're selling me a yes or I sell you a no, or vice versa.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I love that.
So you just throw that at people and let them, feel that, like you highlight everything for them that they have not seen. And that's exactly what you do in true sales. You actually just show them the value. And, if someone is having a bad day, you show them how life is better, how life can be better if they didn't do certain things, or how life can be better with something in their life. Maybe if you don't like this gym, go to another gym. That's it. You don't like this job. People get stuck in a job. And they're not happy. They're stressed.
And relationships.
Exactly. They take everything to the extreme and they beat themselves. And why?
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing. Always reset. Another rule I use is resetting. When I get lost, I go back to the source. I go back to the beginning of time. I started without this job. Then I can start in another job. I started in a different career. I can move to another career. The problem is people are afraid to restart. You restart?
Yeah. Again, it's uncomfortable. Things that are not known are uncomfortable, like going out at night when you can't see, or swimming in the ocean. Like, these are all things that are unknown. The unknown is uncomfortable for most people, and their relationship to the unknown is oftentimes terrified or scared. There's all these different adjectives, and how any of us listening, are relating to the unknown is exactly how you're going to relate to changes in your life. For me, it's thrilling. I actually think that things that I don't know, I'm really excited about them and I'm thrilled. So it's somehow a little bit easier for me because of the way I relate to the unknown. But I know a lot of people who are just like frozen when they think about the unknown and entering into it. They're like, oh my God, paralysis. Other
Again,
people are just like, avoid it, you know? Go ahead.
fear, right? It's fear. You know,
Yeah.
the unknown, we all are afraid of the unknown because we don't know what's in it. But, you know, the reason we've evolved is that we've actually leaped forward into the unknown and discovered the unknown. I mean, you know, that's how you do. You got to get into it. Like right now, we're talking about being in Mars, right? You know, discovering other planets. Well,
Yeah.
it was scary before we went to the moon. I mean, of course, I'm not talking. Some people may say we've never been there. That's another story. It's not part of topic of
Oh,
discussion.
right.
So if someone is
Okay.
listening. But I do know that we're right now talking through 3 hours difference and through a Zoom. So there is satellites. So I guess we're at least, you know, over the earth for a minute. So I believe in that we've gone over
Right.
we've been
Love
there.
it.
So the fact of the matter is, but it was the unknown, uncharted territories, right? You know, it's like you're going somewhere that no one else has been to, right? But the
Yeah.
first person that did that probably was scared, and then the next, and then he gets comfortable. And even today, I'm sure when if I have a chance right now to fly to space, I'm probably gonna be like, you know, scared. Is that even something I would love to? Actually, something I might entertain. I may not do skydiving. I'll probably do that. Two different things.
I actually would agree with you on that. I probably would not do skydiving, but I would fly to the moon. Yeah, that's interesting. I would agree with that statement. But I think it's really fun to start thinking about things that are inside of our comfort zone and things that are outside of our comfort zone, and some things that are outside of our comfort zone that we might want to do. I'm trying to think about for myself what might be something outside of my comfort zone. It used to be that posting on social media was outside my comfort zone. Now it's totally in my comfort zone. But there was a time where it was outside, you know. So yeah, changing some of my career things would be uncomfortable outside my comfort zone. But if the opportunity came up, you know, I might explore it. But it definitely would be outside my comfort zone. I love what I do. I really love what I do.
But what you do is diversified enough that you can actually change it and twist it and get something else.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
but you see, you said a key word here that also makes a difference. Is you've designed your life to do things you like. You work
True.
towards that. So we have the control to do that. You know, I'm doing something I'm enjoying right now. That's the other thing we say, right? You don't work a day if you do what you like, right? Or what you love. So find your niche, find your thing, you know, and if you're just getting into a job or relationship or anything that is not working out, well, you know, there's ways out. Oh, divorce. Okay, well, it's gonna cost money. Why? If it's all money comes, money goes. Well, if your health goes, it's not coming back.
Well, it might, but yeah,
Well,
depending on
you know what I
what's
mean. Like,
going
yeah,
on.
it
Yeah,
depends
no,
on the
no,
level. Yeah.
it's true. Like you know, it's like you get cancer from one day to the next or heart disease. Like these are diseases that are proven to be preventable, and diabetes type 2, you know, reversible. And you know, we really can every day take steps towards our greater selves and our greater health.
So
Yeah.
hold on. You've been talking about a keyword, vitality. I think you mentioned it a few times. So let's talk about that next project of yours.
Oh yeah, so so I'm starting two things. One of them is a podcast. I'm really excited. People like you are inspiring to me, and it's going to be called Vitality, and it's for women who are leading audaciously. And doesn't mean men can't be a part of it you know, either. I don't want to leave men out at all. But yeah, so it's all about vitality and all the things that bring vitality, and really about how we resource ourselves. Like, where are we sourcing ourselves? And is it in the positive thoughts, like you've been talking about, Hurricane? Is it in the bath? You know, is it in nature? Is it through exercise at the gym? Like everyone's going to have a different way of how they source themselves. So I want it to be a place where we can find common ground, support each other, and realign with our purpose, and also share our fears. I want it to be a safe space for people to really be able to normalize it. Because sometimes we feel like we're alone and our problems are unique, but guess what? They're not. When you look at the human condition, and you and I have traveled all over the world, we know that humans are the same, no matter what, no matter where. We all have the same basic needs. We want to belong. We want to be loved. We want to be fed. You know, we want to, you know, it's really simple, actually, at the end of the day. And the other project, go ahead.
No, please. Well, I'm just going to comment. There's a very simple rule to that. There are people that have more. There are people that have less, and we're always somewhere in the middle. You know, and you can be the one on the left side, the upper side, but it doesn't matter. There's always someone's going to have more than you and someone that have less than you.
That is so true.
So look at, respect the ones that have less and don't look down on them, and don't go crazy to just, you can emulate the ones that have more and work towards it. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't hate them. Don't worry about it. If you want what they have, just work for it. And so again, there's a formula for everything, and there's a way to really shrink everything, if you want to call it that way. I'm just using that word.
No, well, like hack it, like how do you hack it so it works for you? And then the other project is around vitality too, but it's a commitment, right? It's a year-long program for moms who are, trying to get a handle on their overwhelm through the integration of a healthy mind, body, and soul. So that's something I'm really excited about, because just working with clients like on the surface is really fun. It's okay. But like a year-long program is when you really see the changes. And then that thing you were talking about earlier, like anyone can do a diet or an exercise plan for like a month or 3 weeks or, even 3 months, but like to really get into a groove and start etching new patterns in your nervous system, in your brain patterns, in your body, in your diet, where you're buying things, how you're making things, how you're treating yourself and your family and your friends and your husband. So that's like, it's really takes about a year to like reset all of that so that it's sustainable, because it doesn't really bring me a lot of joy to help somebody with a health outcome, and a life outcome just for a short term. The sustainable change is really what creates that ripple effect and what's really going to create a better world, which is what we all hope for.
And that's exactly, I think that's a good message right there. We want to create a better world, and it takes time. It takes a lot of work. And, listen, these are some real impressive projects. And, first of all, best of luck there, all the success. Anything we can do to help, sure. I mean, again, we can promote this right now.
Thank you.
So the podcast part, I mean, that's going to be fun. Vitality, I love that name. I told you about that little, thing about the spa. My favorite place on the ship was called Vitality. So, but definitely. And so we're coming to the end of the show, Jennifer. But so my question is, how can people reach out to you for your services? And
yeah, easy enough. So you can go ahead and just go to jennifer-helene.com and find me there. You can contact me directly, and I'm happy to answer questions, or just to collaborate, or anything it's in your mind. I'm happy to respond to that. So yeah, jennifer-helene.com, and then you'll find my contact info.
All right, there you have it, folks. You need to work something magical. We got the right source here. So Jennifer is available. I will put the link to your site, and so people can actually reach out to you if they're interested in learning more or working with you. So it's been a fun show. It was really cool. I enjoyed every minute. I think we've talked a lot. I talked too.
Thank you. I love it.
Again, some of these topics, I just enjoy them, because I live by them, and those are like the things that keep me motivated and keep me going. And that's the other thing. You got to find your own motivation. You have to find something that you enjoy and just get into it. That's it.
And everyone's heart is different. And I'd love to dive in with you on exercise and embodiment. I'm really interested in to talk shop with you. That'd be really fun.
We'll definitely do that. So okay. we will have that conversation, and there's plenty. I mean, we can also talk about business in terms of what we can do in terms of projects and stuff.
Yeah.
So again, listen. The world is amazing. You meet people, there's no coincidence, right? So that's the other thing. Everyone you meet, you learn from one way or the other, and it's an opportunity to build a relationship, a network, and you don't know. Like in my whole career, I've had this. I met one person who gave me another connection to another connection, and ultimately that's what led me to where I am today. And it's fun, and when you don't see it at first, but when you sit back years later and you start almost reviewing the timeline, and you start seeing the connections, it's like, wow, if I didn't meet this person on this day, I wouldn't have been here or there or whatever, or I wouldn't be in this job, and so on and so forth. If this circumstances didn't occur, I wouldn't be able to make that move. Some things happen bad to get you moving to do something better. All these things. Yeah, so it's amazing. But again, reflecting on things, and sometimes, and you always just sit down and look back. See, like always question, what am I doing good? What am I doing wrong? Those are good things. good exercise. And you always kind of almost like evaluate yourself on the go all the time.
Yeah, we do. Not from a place of like shame, but like from a place of
Oh, no
like
shame,
just
not at all.
honesty. But most people do, Hurricane. You probably know this, but I know a lot of my clients, really like, oh, I'm not doing this good enough, and I'm not doing this, and this isn't good enough, and that's not good enough, and I should have eaten this. Like, there's so much shame and blame and guilt, and like looking at yourself honestly from a place of love and commitment, like, this is really what I want, like encouraging yourself as opposed to like, I'm not good enough. Because a lot of people use that I'm not good enough conversation to propel themselves forward. And I would say that's really disempowering. So I just want to plug the reminder, like, love yourself up, like propel yourself forward from a place of love and acceptance and tenderness and forgiveness.
Well, listen, I was going to ask you to give us a couple of words to end the show.
They're funny. I was just like right on tune with you. That's great. So that would be
you
the
read my mind
message.
there.
That is so cool. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good advice. I mean, really, and you're right. Don't feel shame. Don't talk positive to yourself, and that's simple.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I just want to encourage people to just, take it one day at a time and to stay the course, because the only person who can win is you, so just really believe in yourself.
I won't even add one word to that. That's it. Jennifer, it was great having you on the show tonight. It was, I had plenty of fun. I think people will be having a ball listening to this, and I sure hope that people really get, even 1% of what we've talked about here and apply it. And that would be great. So that being said, thank you, Jennifer, for being on the show. We'll talk about maybe doing a sequel. And folks, thank you for watching the iHealth channel, the FitFat channel, the beauty channel, and listening to iHealth Radio. Eric and H here. Ciao, ciao for another show, a new guest, a new topic. Bye.